Before I call the member, this is the last speech for a time debate. You've got about 9 minutes. I'll give you a 2-minute bell.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a great pleasure and honour to speak on this, the budget debate and the final speech. Quite an honour. I just want to say I support the Prime Minister, the Right Honourable John Key, as well as the Minister of Finance, Bill English, for bringing this to the House, sir. And looking back 3.5 years over this government's tenure, New Zealanders know how we inherited an economy that had some of the highest interest rates and inflation rates in the Western world. And the forecasts for economic growth when we took over the Treasury benches were particularly grim. Treasury forecasted deficits of Greco-Hispanic proportions, 10 long years of crippling deficits. And Labour's grave legacy, and Mr Hipkins knows this, which they like to keep quiet, was 5 consecutive years of export contraction. And sir, the prolonged global economic recession, the Christchurch earthquake and Labour's economic mismanagement have led to a long, dark night in our history. However, after a long, dark night, we all know that there is morning again, and this budget represents morning in New Zealand. And it's morning because in New Zealand, this budget will balance the government's books by the year 2015. Morning in New Zealand because this budget will deliver better government services. And finally, it's morning in New Zealand as this budget builds a more productive and competitive economy. Under this national government, the economy has steadily built up to the point where 2,230,000 New Zealanders went to work in this country today. And sir, that is more than in any time in our history. Interest rates are at historic lows, under 5%, where they were well over 10% under the Labour government in early 2008. In fact, inflation was over 5% in mid-2008, and today it is at an all-time low of 1.2%. And finally, sir, I want to say that economic growth for the first quarter of this year, the figures were released last Friday, came in at 1.1% for the first quarter. That's the 3rd highest rate in the OECD. And the opposition might ask, Mr Mallard in particular, why it's important that we balance the government's books. Well, it's important because as we look around the world, and my colleague Mr Zhang referred to this, there are danger signs of countries where out-of-control debt has brought nations to their knees. In Greece, where crazy debt levels led to a €130 billion rescue package for what is a €215 billion economy. Unemployment there is over 21.5%, and the economy has shrunk. It shrunk by 6.5% in the first quarter alone. Mr Zhang also referred to unemployment in Spain, and that has hit 24%, with the banking sector in crisis and facing serious downgrades, and where a recession is imminent. Sir, in my view, this national government will not allow this situation to happen here. It's through fiscally responsible policies, prudent economic management and sound common sense leadership that we will make this country bolder, brighter and better again. So New Zealanders ask, what does this budget do to balance the books? Well, we've closed tax loopholes around livestock and mixed-use assets to save $293 million over 4 years. We've removed tax credits that were no longer serving their purpose, which will save $117 million. But what is critical with debt in mind is that the net core Crown debt will remain below 30%. And this is a gold standard compared to other developed countries. Significantly, we are reprioritising $4.4 billion over the next 4 years to ensure that New Zealanders receive better public services in health, education, social services and science and innovation. And why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? That's a particularly important question. We're doing this because these are the areas that actually matter to everyday New Zealanders. So in health, and I'm glad the Honourable Tony Rowell is here to join us in the House today, we're spending an extra $1.5 billion. Under his leadership, we're spending an extra $48 million for more elective surgeries. That's right, more New Zealanders whose quality of life will be improved under this government. This government, record numbers, the Minister says. This government will increase science and innovation funding across government to more than $1.3 billion by the year 2016. And that is $166 million of extra funding which will go to develop the new Advanced Technology Institute. And this is critical because these are the investments that support high-value manufacturing and services sector. These businesses, sir, have the potential to create high-value exports and high-wage jobs while not requiring significant land-based resources. And I see this in my own electorate of Maunga-Kia through innovative companies like Raycon, Buckley Systems, Massport, Compact Sorting Equipment, and as well as Sistema. And the recent GDP figures are testament to this, with manufacturing up 1.8% for the March quarter alone. And this represents the largest contributor to economic growth for this period. And finally, just on the Future Investment Fund, which will invest $5 to $7 billion from the partial floats of state enterprises, and I again commend the ministers in the House for bringing this legislation through that was passed yesterday. And crucially, this will contribute $33 million towards the fit-out of ultra-fast broadbands in my schools in Maunga-Kia, but also the schools of other members of Parliament here in the House today. And we're also investing over $88 million for a number of hospital redevelopments across this country. So we are investing in our future by investing in our children and investing in their health and learning outcomes. So what's been clear in this debate are the ideological differences between those tired, pessimistic opposition benches over there, led by Mr Mallard, against these upbeat, aspirational government benches over here. The opposition arguing what we can't do, while this government stating clearly what New Zealanders are capable of. And the ideological divide is noted in a study by Harvard economists Alessina and Ardania, and their conclusions were unequivocal. Fiscal stimuli based on tax cuts are more likely to increase growth than those based on spending increases. They added that spending cuts, and which is what this government is about, are much more effective than tax increases in stabilising debt and avoiding economic downturns, which is what Mr Mallard represents. So in closing, sir, it's morning again in New Zealand, and under the leadership of John Key, our country is bolder, brighter and better. Why would we ever want to return to the profligate ways of the last Labor government, which emphasised tax, spend and borrow, but very little hope? This budget sets this country on a path to surplus. This budget puts an economic framework in place for improved prosperity. And this budget provides opportunities for all New Zealanders to get ahead and succeed. Mr Speaker, I say again, it's morning again in New Zealand, and I commend this budget to all New Zealanders and this House. Thank you, sir.
The question is that the Appropriations 2011-12 Supplementary Estimates Bill be now read a second time. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour. 34 votes opposed. Green Party.
13 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
8 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
Action New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
The ayes are 63, the noes are 56. The question is agreed to.
Appropriation 2011-12 Supplementary Estimates Bill, second reading.
The Appropriation 2011-12 Supplementary Estimates Bill is set down for committee stage presently. The question is that the impressed supply first for 2012-13 bill now be read a second time. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. No. Ayes have it. Party vote. The clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
13 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
8 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
The ayes are 63, the noes 56. The motion is agreed to.
Impressed supply first for 2012-13 bill, second reading.
The impressed supply first for 2012-13 bill is set down for third reading presently. I declare the House in committee for the consideration of the Appropriation 2011-12 Supplementary